Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone something I never ask on this channel, that you'd share this or share some of the links I have in the description. I'm sure probably most of you that follow this channel follow pretty much the same other channels I follow, so you've probably heard about what's taken place the past few days. And I just caught it last night on Titus Frost's Periscope. It was right before I was getting ready to go to bed. I seen he had the Periscope up. I just happened to watch it, and wow, what I seen was downright sickening. And what I've had, ability I've had in between things I've had to do today, the research I've done, and just following this a bit more, it's like gotten to a point where, yes, media's being silent about it as usual, and we need to get the word out. We need to let people know that this is going on. You know, past few months, I've been talking about what in the magazine I talked about the missing children. You know, I've been talking about the education systems and the sexual abuse and stuff that's going on. And it's an important subject. Just as important as what we're going to be talking about today. Because there's no place in society or humanity for this type of stuff. Whether it be child or human trafficking, it just shouldn't be. I mean, what they stumbled across, and I mean, for those that weren't, like I said, I left links. We know how they can be sharing other people's stuff. You know how they like to censor, so I put the links onto Craig Sawyer's channel, and I will show you. I've got them marked, so I'll just... On location, creepy trafficking camp. I mean, these videos will just make you mad. It will make you mad to know that this is happening in Tucson, Arizona. Underground chamber discovered where they were keeping children prisoners. You know, check out his videos. The VOA, Alpha Core, Team Pulaski on Facebook. They've been dropping live streams documenting what they're doing, what they've seen. A link to their Facebook channel, another good way to stay on top of what's going on. And definitely reshare these links and videos. This is the Periscope that I watched last night with Titus Frost. Links in the description. He gets into it and talks about it. I also found an article as well. The Coldwater. Veterans' rights groups discovered a child trafficking camp in Arizona. You know, you can see it's right off the I-19, I-10 corridor. Santa Cruz River. There are shocking reports and footage now coming out of the Tucson, Arizona area where a homeless veterans advocacy group, Veterans on Patrol, has stumbled upon what they're calling a child trafficking camp hidden inside Arizona woods. And yes, guys, for any of the links I left you, and if you check this one out, the videos are disturbing. I mean, they will set your blood boiling. One of the volunteers for the group, Danny Ward, said that there is no doubt that what Veterans on Patrol organization located in a child trafficking camp, even pointing out the various strollers, children's clothing, and toys that were left behind in nearby campsites close to Santa Cruz River. Several videos of the events have appeared on BitChute since YouTube is said to have removed much of the footage from their platform in what seems to be an effort to censor the massive findings. The Coldwater has uploaded some of the footage to YouTube for the below embedded videos. We'll see if Google takes down, and if they do, we'll provide backups. And like I said, a couple local news agencies did a report, but if you watch the videos, you'll see that they're not saying one way or the other. You know, it's kind of, I mean, you listen to the reporter's voice and her demeanor. Yeah, we'll just not further comment on my opinion there. Local media has alleged that these camps are potential abandoned homeless camps, but the Veterans on Patrol group assures that the media that they indeed uncovered what seems to be an epicenter of child trafficking, possibly along the route which is used to camp during the transport. And one of the videos, I don't know if it's on here, it might be on Facebook. It shows they were in the process before they, these guys started showing up. They were in the process of digging another tunnel to keep children prisoners. I mean, they had it to the point where they had, you see a rope ladder going up a tree to where they had a lookout. They already had the wood you cut. I mean, this whole story, as it's been developing and things that are coming out, it's just sickening to know what's taking place. In an interview with KVOA, Danny Ward speaks of restraint straps that the group found tied to nearby trees they believe were used to prevent the children from escaping their clutches. So, yeah, it's not exactly the words they used. Victims of child trafficking can be used and abused over and over. A $32 billion a year industry. Human trafficking is on the rise, and it is in all 50 states. U.S. government, 4.5 million of trafficked persons are sexually exploited. Up to 300,000 Americans under 18 are lured into the commercial sex trade every year, according to Arc of Hope for Children organization. Child trafficking victims, whether for labor, sex, or organ trafficking, come from all backgrounds, include both boys and girls. They span a wide age range from 1 to 18 years old. Sex trafficking victims up to roughly 25 years old most often started as young as 14. Arc of Hope for Children says children are trafficked out or into the United States from all regions of the world and represents a variety of different races, ethnic groups, and religions. They may be brought to the U.S. legally or smuggled in. We're talking about 4.5 million trafficking victims that are sexually abused, making this a major industry in which the mainstream media does not want to talk about. And we know they don't want to talk about it from all the stings and raids that's gone on for the past year. Countless pedophile rings, sex trafficking rings. You know? They don't talk about it. They don't want it to be brought up. Then the people that do, they get censored. They get messed with. You know, the statistics, just the children that go missing and abducted every day here in the United States is mind-blowing. On Twitter, Breaking 911, I posted some old guy had abducted known registered sex offender, believed to be armed, stole a baby from a stroller. I mean, it happens every day in our backyards. All you got to do, if you don't believe me, go to your local Walmart. It's usually towards the registers. They have a bulletin board where they list all the missing children from the area, missing people. And that's not even a fraction of it. Same way with your local food stores. They usually always have a bulletin board that lists all the missing. It's these reports that very seldom get talked about, brought attention to. Now, I'm not sure about this website right here, this Polaris project. But you can see where basically a map of where the most abducted people are from. Basically like a hot and cold zone. But as you can see, I mean, yeah, we know that area, this, D.C., Maryland area. I mean, just reading this makes your blood boil. So it's definitely an article that I would recommend you checking out, sharing with others. I mean, just look at some of these images. I mean, it goes down into a tunnel where only children can fit in. And some of the videos they actually have show you inside of one. They also show you a few other places. The videos are still up. Underground areas, an abandoned cement factory. It also gives additional links. I don't have the BitChute links in my description, but check it out. Spread the word. It's not something that we can be silent on. There's just too much crap that we deal with every day, and we overlook some of the most important things that are going on, our children. Because we're all caught up having to work all these long hours, relying on so-called mainstream media to report factual truth. Yeah, I know, funny, right? But yet they want to be silent on these matters. They don't want to talk about what's really going on. When we're talking about human and child trafficking, we're just not talking about for the sex industry. We're talking about harvesting organs, forced labor, and all the pedophilia stuff that comes with it in between. It's sickening. This veterans group, they were there out searching, hobo camps and stuff looking for homeless vets. And that's when they stumbled across this. And for the life of me, why isn't this being broadcast everywhere from every news network, whether it be the YouTubers? I'm watch my Twitter feed. Four people kept on tweeting stuff about this. Everybody else, oh, they want to talk about the Supreme Court's ruling and how mainstream media is labeling it a close or narrow. You know what? And that just shows you. Then out of everybody that's retweeting that, reposting that, stuff like this video and those other people's videos get buried within the tweets in our feeds. This is one thing that should make everybody sick and everybody want to demand answers. What is the police department doing? Now, I've heard different stories. Now, one of the videos from one of the local news channels there, they did show the police there investigating. They said they turned it over to their detectives. Now, I've also heard stories where they say, well, they're old. It's not happening here. I've also heard where some of the vets have been arrested. Have they? I do not know. Cannot confirm if they have or not. That's, the problem when you're early researching stuff. So I don't like bringing something that's breaking because there's so much stuff going on. You want to have all the right answers before you open up your mouth these days. The fact is, this should also be a federal investigation involved here. Regardless if they were not recent, we know how the coyotes work when they smuggle people across, the illegals across the border. We know how all that works. Now that we found these camps, we should, and I agree with what those veterans are saying, we need more people out here scouring the air and make sure there isn't any children or adults that are underground. Because, in a sense, they have spooked some of them. They're not going to come back right away. How much food do they have? How much water do they have? We're talking about a huge, vast area. You know, they just, where nobody's going to look. That's kind of the real saddening, sickening part of this. That, you know, maybe people don't care. I don't know. I'd hope they care. And to those that they are, that's not, well, I hope it don't happen to somebody you know. Then you might start thinking differently. You know, this stuff should never be going on anywhere in this world, but it does. And it is. And we do need more law enforcement cracking down on this. We also know, we're not stupid, we know that dealing with this area, dealing with our border, we also know the cartels have their hands in the human trafficking, sex trafficking, just as well as the drugs and the smuggling of humans across borders. I mean, for anybody that's ever studied or done any research, you'll know the horror stories out there of how they play the game. People that want to come over here, they got to go to a coyote. Well, most of those coyotes are either in with the cartels or in with some other. You got to pay us so much, or you don't have it all. We'll take half, but we're going to keep your daughter or your wife until you come back with the rest of the money. There's all kinds of documented cases like that. You know, when I hear stories of law enforcement not getting involved or blowing it off, it leaves one to on the line of questioning, are you taking money from the cartels to look the other way? That's the impression you give when you look the other way, when you wear a badge or when you're border security. We also know there's documented cases of that. What does it take for people to see this? I mean, go watch the video, see for yourself. You know, call to action doesn't just mean have to go there. Call your congressman. Go to the ISIS site, Marshall site. File complaints asking why there's nothing being done. You have more means than you think sometimes you give yourself credit for. You don't always have to be the boots on the ground. You can take the time off to share one of these videos, these stories with others. Bring the issue to it. Call your congressman. Call the feds, Homeland Security. File complaints. What are you guys doing about this? You know, as a human being, you should want to do something about this. You should want and demand that this gets attention. But I guess a lot of people want to give attention to the mainstream media. Says Supreme Court narrowly decided a verdict. I mean, 7 to 2. We know this. We know how that works. There's nothing. We don't need to be retweeting all that. Or some people say, "Oh, I don't want to show this. This is going to offend people." You guys need to start acting like adults. Stop caring if it offends somebody, because you know what? They took offense to it, and then they need to go take a look in the mirror. It's stuff like this that we cannot allow to keep happening in our country, but in any country. You know, how many people realize how much of this happens in their own backyard? At least once, twice a month, I hear about it in my own backyard. Stingrays being done on human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, which, in most cases, those prostitutions turns out it's human and sex trafficking, and some of it ends up dealing with children. I give my hats off to the Toledo Police Department because they're on top of it. For what little they have, they stay on top of this every month. Like I said, the statistic for just those children that go missing every day is mind-blowing. And it doesn't get the attention it needs. Never has. I think the most attention any of this has ever gotten, and I hate to say this, because it was Pizzagate. And some of you know I'm right. Granted, I think some of them, they took it their own way with it, and they missed some of the very important parts, but they were right, the pedophilia stuff. If it wasn't for all of that coming to attention the way it did, we'd probably still be turning a blind eye to most of this stuff. We probably wouldn't have these federal agencies out there doing sting raids almost every day. We wouldn't have groups out there taking the time to address this issue. I don't get people sometimes. I really don't get people, especially people that have children. I mean, if I get it and I don't have children, you think the people that had children get it better than I do. But it seems we live in that day and age, unless it happens to us, we want to turn a blind eye to it. Hey, whoever gave me that thumbs down, thanks. Must have struck a nerve. Must have made you question something. I actually enjoy that. The first one I've gotten. I mean, come on. If my title and what I'm talking about really bothers you, you really do need to take a look in the mirror. Because if I triggered you talking about this, And you should be triggered. Let me tell you, every last one of you that listen to this should be triggered by what you look through those articles, watch any of those videos. You should be very triggered. Because there's no place for that type of crap anywhere in this world. You know, we have all of these awarenesses. But we only have these awarenesses for a day or a month. Then we tend to forget them. You know, I never truly understood why we have all these awarenesses until now, really. Let's think about it. We have Awareness Day for missing children. Awareness Day for suicide victims. We'll give it a day for people to focus on that way. Then they'll focus on the next awareness, so they'll forget until it comes around again. When key issues like this should be our number one focus and our number one awareness every day. Just like the stuff that we're finding out that's going on in the schools and the teachers' unions, that should be brought to attention and that they should be held accountable every day. Maybe that's the point. Nobody's ever held accountable and when they have positions of power. Maybe it's we've become so numb with all the crap that we're bombarded with. We see a story like this and the first thought, oh, fake news. Oh, you know, when there's nothing fake about any of this. I mean, watch the videos for yourself. The only thing that's left to question is how recent the fact that they're still there, the fact that there's clothes, the fact that they found hair dye tells you, and you know, packages didn't look that old. It tells you they're fairly recent. The next question is, how many buried bodies are out there? That's how sick this thing is. The fact is, where are these? If they're smuggling them here in the United States, where are they going? Where are they going to people here in the United States? Well, two things for certain. It ain't to the poor middle class people. Oh, maybe now we can start understanding why that this ain't getting the attention it should be. Because the fact is, most of the middle class could never afford such a thing. Of course, we know the poor and the middle class have higher standards and higher morals than that. Because this is, as I read, a multi-billion-dollar organization and operation. And it's just not, like I said, this is not dealing with the sex trafficking part. It's also dealing with harvesting of human organs sold on the black market. You know, we want to talk accountability. Oh yeah, the accountability starts going up into our medical facilities, our pharmaceutical facilities. scientific facilities, research facilities. You know, the things that never get talked about only by conspiracy theorists. You know, there is accountability. You know, investigation shouldn't just stop when you find the pedophile ring or sex trafficking ring. Maybe it needs to start going into the corporate sector. You know, follow the money, because it's not something that the average day person can afford. For anybody that's ever done research on this, should know this. You know, we want to start bringing awareness. We'll start bringing awareness to all this. You know, why don't they want a border wall? Why don't they want more secure borders? Why is it just now being discovered? I mean, granted, it's a huge area. We'll argue that. You know, why aren't we going after the cartels that are promoting this, that are helping smuggle these people in? A lot of questions start to form. And the one answer we get, lack of accountability, lack of justice. We get an answer that most people rather turn a blind eye to this than spread the word and actually demand justice. Demand that this don't happen in our country. Anybody hear any of our senators and congressmen, our state senators, congressmen say anything about this today? Or yesterday? Or the day before that? No. I will give props to those two local news agencies, even though I didn't care for how the one reported it. At least they gave it attention. And it seems to be the way things are. You know, last year I did some reports on terrorism here in the U.S., how these local news agencies were stumbling across these unsealed indictments. You know, because the previous administration said they don't happen here, but it was the local news that was actually reporting on this. Of course, you know, it's local, so therefore it doesn't go past that community or it's past its viewers. So, you know, two local news companies that actually reported on this, only their viewership would have seen it. And depending when they would have aired it, who knows how many actually seen it. Now, it's why a lot of my videos, I've been getting real big on saying, you know, change starts in the home. And from the home, we start reaching out to our neighbors and friends in the community. It starts first in the home. And it starts addressing our community, our friends, the people we bump into at the store, at the restaurant, or the local racetrack, or wherever it may be, bowling alley. Use those opportunities. Address these very issues. Did you hear about what happened in Tucson, Arizona? You know, inform people. Everybody, for those that go to church on Wednesdays, Sundays, Mondays, or whatever day it is, you know, have a prayer group. Bring it up. You know, we have so many ways to get any message out there. We have so many tools at our disposal. The bottom line is they can't censor all of us. They can't censor you if you're talking to your friend on the phone or at the grocery store. You have tons of opportunities to address these issues. I mean, let's keep it real. 2 weeks from now, are we going to be hearing about this? No, everybody's attention will be focused on the next trending thing. Quit living your life by what's trending. Because what's trending is misleading you from shit like this. Shit that's so sick and has no place in human society anywhere. Or you can just become cold, callous, numb, just say, I don't care. But I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you this from experience. You can take that attitude. One day, reality's going to set in, and you will care because you'll experience something close to home. That attitude only gets you so far before it comes knocking to show you should care. You know, I don't, like I said, I'm trying to not lose my cool and keep all the colorful language out of it at the same time. I mean, you'll know and understand if you watch the videos or read the links that I put in here. You'll understand how hard it is actually to control yourself from just flying off the handle. And because what was depicted is sick. Those restraints on the tree and what the purpose what they were for, they weren't just to restrain. Those underground prison things that they created down there, to where the child they could put the child in, but the child couldn't crawl out. Who does that to people? Better yet, who does that to children? You know, I was always taught, you know, our children are the most precious thing. They're the innocent, and it should always be protected. Those children are supposed to be the future. They should never be subjugated to any of these horrors that they're being put through. No human should, but especially a child. And that alone should make you want to take action. Whether it be talking amongst friends about this, pointing it out, since, you know, our mainstream media does not want to ever cover topics like this. They don't want to tell you that over 1,500 pedophiles have been arrested. They don't want to tell you how many human and how many adult and children that's been rescued from sex rings. Because you know what? If people started seeing that was in their face, they'd be demanding justice. You know what? They'd be demanding, build that damn wall and build it now. Get that border secure. They'd be demanding that Homeland Security, our Coast Guard, be on top of their job so no humans being smuggled into the U.S. or smuggled out of the U.S. Because if anybody that has a heart and soul, you have a soul, this should trouble you to the core. You know, but in the end, it is on each and every one of you. You have choices and decisions to make. You have to decide if you're going to continue turning a blind eye to this, or you're going to start talking about it, demanding action. And it's simple. Like I said, you don't even have to do a video. You can just talk about it amongst your friends and family and your community. You can share this video or any of the videos, the links, or the articles that you come across that are talking about this. Share them. Stop sharing what's trending. This should be trending everywhere. Oh, but it's not. And that's the problem. You know, I'm going to leave you guys on that note because, quite frankly, this is, to me, sickening to see that this is happening continuously in our country, and continuously it doesn't get the attention it needs. But I guess that's what people prefer. So, you guys got to decide when's enough's enough. When am I going to stop falling for the trending stuff and keep ignoring the most important things that are supposed to be in front of you in your life and surrounding you? Maybe when you start realizing that, when issues like this come up, you'll be quick to address it, quick to pick up the phone, demand from your congressmen's, Homeland Security, FBI, you name it, that action is taken, that they investigate this. I mean, you can even go as one step farther, calling your local news and sharing the story. At least then you'll know how good your local news is. They'd pick if they actually pick it up or not. Like I said, you guys got so many tools at your disposal to spread awareness, to take action on things. Think about it for a while. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week.